What's going on, everyone? F1 Pit Stop here, and today we're going to look at the top 3 biggest winners and losers of the 2022 F1 season so far. Before we get into anything, I want you to let me know in the comments who you think are the 3 biggest winners and 3 biggest losers. It can be the teams themselves or the drivers themselves, whatever you think has won the most or lost the most. And we're really closing in on 150 subscribers, hoping to be there soon, so really appreciate it if you help me get there. Now let's hop into it. The first biggest winner of the season so far has to be Sergio Perez. Not only because he's just coming off a win at Monaco, but mostly because Red Bull has seemed to figure out their second driver problem with Sergio Perez, especially now that he's going to be driving with them for another 2 years through the 2024 season. He's third in the championship right now, only 6 points behind Leclerc. Red Bull has an amazing car, and Perez at even times has been faster than Max Verstappen. They might have 2 number 1 drivers at this point. By far, Perez is the biggest winner of the season so far. Coming in at number 2, it's Red Bull themselves. I mean, we've seen teams who have really taken advantage of these regulation changes and teams who have fallen flat. Stay tuned for the biggest losers. But Red Bull has seemed to really carry their momentum over and have, if not the best car, the second best car, tied for first even with Ferrari. They've really been killing it with such drastic regulation changes. The fact that Red Bull was able to hold their momentum and just do such a phenomenal car, good for them. They're one of the biggest winners. Looking at our third and final biggest winner so far in this 2022 season is George Russell. Moving up from arguably the worst team on the grid, Williams, to what was the most prestigious team on the grid, Mercedes. He has shown amazing potential, outdriving Lewis Hamilton in every single race and being the only driver to finish in the top 5 every single race this year. He's been consistent, he's been quick, especially with the car he's given this year. And I really wasn't a big Russell fan, still aren't, but you gotta give him props. He's really showed up, became his own driver, and he is looking like he has a long-lasting career in F1, especially with a good car. Now we're going to take a look at the top 3 biggest losers so far of the season, with the first being Mercedes. They, unlike Red Bull and Ferrari even, have not been able to produce a car, worthy of competing at this moment. Yes, they are still in third in the Constructors' Championships, but they're still 100 points off of the leader, 101 points technically. Unless some drastic things change and Lewis Hamilton is able to step it up and actually drive well, Mercedes doesn't have a chance, especially after 8 years in a row of Constructors' Championships. They're really falling behind. These new regulations drastically affected them way more than the other teams. Coming in the second biggest loser of the season so far, sticking with the Mercedes theme, it's Lewis Hamilton. I mean, you have this driver who is tied for the most drivers' championships out of any driver ever in Formula One history, and it's like you're seeing it's like you're seeing a rookie put into a really fast car, just not able to make it happen. Even, at the Spanish Grand Prix, after some misfortune at the beginning of the race, he even heard him say, "Let's just save the engine," meaning he thought it would be better if he didn't finish the race, but he ended up scoring decent points. The talent is there. He's an amazing driver. Just this season, George Russell's beating him, and I think if you're a 7-time driver champion, that says a lot. I'm not exactly sure if it's just the changes in the car that are really throwing him, but he's been in the game a long time. He should be able to make these adjustments and be successful in the car that Mercedes gives him. Then, rounding it out, we have Haas. Now, if this was the very beginning of the season, I would have said that Haas was one of the biggest winners. However, as the season went on, it's typical Haas. Right now they're in 8th. They have 15 points, which is more than they've had in a couple seasons. They started off strong, but then just misfortune, and the car isn't at the pace. The drivers aren't the most talented on the grid. I love rooting for Haas, and I want to see them do so well, but they seem to be reverting into their old ways. Even just looking at last race, both cars didn't finish. Magnussen had engine issues, and then Schumacher at Monaco, of course, had that horrendous crash. He was great, but the car split in two. Of course, that's going to cost them a ton of money. Last time Mick had a crash that bad, it cost them over $1 million to fix. This is really going to eat into their budget and will really limit the amount of developmental boosts and upgrades that they can make. So there we have it, my top 3 biggest winners and losers so far of the 2022 season. I'm going to keep doing this sort of thing as we go on, maybe race by race, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see those coming out. I appreciate you watching. Catch you next time.